Hello, welcome back to the Pranic Lifestyle Group Coaching. And last week we were talking about how to create your brand and basically creating a book to go with your branding. And I'm working on my third book right now, and I have an online course that goes with it. And so basically the book promotes the online course, and my new book is called Living the Pranic Lifestyle, and I'm going to be launching it on Amazon. And the way you do that is you use something called Kindle, there's a name for it, Kindle Publishing. If you Google Kindle Publishing, it'll show up, and basically all you got to do, once your file is ready, and they give you all the guidelines on how to format the book, and you can donate or not donate, download the template, and then you just fill it in, and the ebook format is different than the physical book format. In an ebook, I think they call it EPUB format. There's different formats, but it has clickable links. Like on my new book, it's going to be full color, and it's going to have clickable links, embedded videos, so they can be reading the book, on their Kindle or whatever device. They're reading about lavender oil. There'll be a hyperlink. They click it. It takes them to my website. Because basically the book is what's called a lead magnet, where it brings me new customers, educates them on all the stuff we do. And when you're creating these books, you have to have one file for the physical book and one for the ebook. And you could use them both, actually. Just when you're writing it, don't put click here now, and then the link just put go here now. Because in my other book, I use the same file, and so in the physical book it says click here, to read about whatever, and so it looks kind of funny. But I was in a hurry. I was like, I just want to get it done, and I don't really care about the detail like that. But in my book now, first we're starting with the ebook file, and I'm buying really, really good images, and I have images already. And you can use websites like dreamstime.com, these stock image websites where you can go and spend, I don't know, $50 or $100 and download a bunch of really, really good images. A cover image, images throughout my, the book. Like for me, I have I do aromatherapy and crystals, and so there's a lot of good pictures of beautiful women with roses, or a girl sniffing the rose, a bottle of essential oil. And I actually bought really good photos like that to use in my books and in my marketing pieces, and I just use them over and over again. And maybe on my new book I might put this girl with the rose. It's an image that I've used a lot, and it's got a lot of attention, especially on every time I've used this on Facebook or any of my posts. It's basically the image. It's like a scene from a romantic dinner for two, and the guy's handing the girl the rose. It's a beautiful black-haired girl, and she's smiling, so she's grabbing the rose and smiling. So just a part of her, I'm not including the guy or any of that. There's just, it's there's one image of her right on the face with the rose and smiling. And so I might test that image for the cover of my book, Living the Pranic Lifestyle. And it's very eye-catching. People see that, and they're like, "Whoa, what's that?" It's got the rose, and the energy of the whole scene is like draws people in, and the rose is red, and so maybe just draws the person looking at it in. But you want to have like a really good cover image, and you can go to Fiverr.com and hire book cover creators. And if you want a really, really good book cover, it could cost you about $100 or so. And they'll create like a really good cover with images, and the way the wording on the, because the cover is basically like a front, a side, and a back. And so it takes like some special formatting, and you have to have like a certain amount of space on the edges, typically like 1/8 of an inch, between the edge of the word, the whatever image you want. Because sometimes when they print a book, the image can move a little bit, or the copier can move a little bit. So they're like, hey, you need 1/8 of an inch bleed, basically throughout the entire book. And you can read all about that in the Kindle publishing guidelines. But going back to the cover, so you got a really good cover image, a really good, you have your name, of course, but it has to have a really good title and subtitle. Like, I'm branding my name, my Pranic lifestyle, and I'm going to use in the subtitles. You want to use what's called keywords in your subject title, and there's something called keyword research, and on Google you can do this, and there's ways to do it on Amazon. But keyword research basically means that you want to write about stuff people are looking for. Like, say if I went to like Google Trends and I type in a topic like tea tree for immunity, or diffusers for diffusers for better health or something. I can go and see, are anybody even looking for this stuff? And if there's not, that basically means that people aren't really looking for it. But if I go and search like tea tree oil or eucalyptus, you'll see there's a lot of people looking for it. Or aromatherapy, the term aromatherapy. But you want to kind of niche down a little bit. You don't want to be like, you could write a book just on eucalyptus if you wanted to, and go after that one keyword. We'll use that as an example. Say if I wanted to write the joys of eucalyptus oil, or 101 benefits of eucalyptus oil, right? And then so I have my keywords, which are basically eucalyptus oil, and are people searching for the benefits of that? So I could go to if you have like a Google AdWords account, it's called the Google Keyword Planner, or we can use another tool called Uber Suggest. So it's like Uber, like the taxi thing, but it's ubersuggest.com, and you can put in any term, and it'll show you like all of the things people are searching for related to that term. And so say if I went and typed in eucalyptus oil, it'll show me like on Google, using the Uber Suggest tool, all of the things people are looking for associated with eucalyptus oil. And so you want to pick topics people are interested in. And on Amazon.com, there's the same type of tools where you can do research, where it shows you which genres or which like niches people are looking for. Like, cause under eucalyptus oil there could be eucalyptus for colds, eucalyptus oil for respiratory ailments, So you can niche down. And so like in my title on my book, I could be like the 101 benefits of eucalyptus oil, ways to utilize eucalyptus oil, or utilizing eucalyptus oil for respiratory health. Right? So now I got my book, and then I'm going not after like a general, like, oh, just eucalyptus, but a specific thing. So people that are looking for eucalyptus oil for respiratory health. And see, I'm very careful though, like in the health niche, you can't make medical claims. So like I can't say eucalyptus oil is gonna, do this to your lungs or do that to your lungs. I have to kind of dance around what it does. So if I say eucalyptus oil for respiratory health or for healthy respiratory system, I'm not making any medical claims, and I'm just suggesting, hey, it can help with respiratory ailments. So then I would just basically make my book, and maybe would have an image of somebody, with the towel over their head and a bowl of water with the eucalyptus oil in it, and they're like, inhaling the eucalyptus oil. And so the image goes along with what I'm talking about. And then I would just basically, whatever keyword or topic I'm going after, like eucalyptus for respiratory health, you want to use that in the description. So like on the back of the book, you have like a bio, and in the bio, where the bio goes more on the inside of the book, on the back of the book, it has a description, which is what sells the book. So you have to have a really good description that sells the book. Because like if you put the book on Amazon, you got a certain amount of characters. They only allow you a certain amount of space to tell the reader about your book. So you basically take whatever's, whatever you put on the back of the book, you can use that as a description. Actually, like, on Amazon.com or wherever you're selling your book at, or your ebook. So it's good to pay, like on Fiverr, somebody $100 to do the cover for you. But you can go to the Kindle publishing, and you can upload your own picture, choose the font, choose the image, and then upload the description, and it'll do it all for you, and it'll all be like, it'll look good. Like in all my past books, I didn't really use any graphic designers, but now I'm stepping up my game, so I want to make my book like you see these romance novels or these really good books that like have a really awesome looking cover. Well, I want mine to look like that. So I mean, it's optional though. You can always change your cover. Even if you copyright your book, and we'll talk about copywriting, here later at the end of the lesson here. Lost my train of thought. What was I talking about, Kim?
The copywriting at the end.
Before the copywriting. Okay, so the cover, you want to have a really good sales description. Like in this book, like the hypothetical book here, I would put, on the back, you're learning, this is Rocky Patel, author of, Golden Aromatherapy and Pranic Lifestyle. So I'm using that to build credibility. And I would put highly reviewed, because I have like 5-star reviews on all my books. And I can go and get more on my old ones. I just haven't been, collecting reviews. But so on the back of the book, I would be like, the 101 benefits of eucalyptus oil. In this book, you're going to learn how, that there are over 300 varieties of eucalyptus and which ones are right for you. How to use eucalyptus oils in your diffusers, in your bath, in your, while traveling, even with the mask. Like some people put essential oil in the mask, Like, so there's many ways to, like, draw people in, but you want to, like, have, like, the bullet points, like what's going to pull people in. And you could be talking about, we're going to teach you how to make salt scrubs, how to blend, eucalyptus oil with other essential oils like tea tree and rosemary and frankincense and different blends that make it even more powerful. So the cover's one thing, and when you try to upload it to Kindle Publishing, the cover file is separate from the interior file. So now we'll move on to the interior file. The best way, to start with the interior file is just download the template from Kindle Publishing, and that way, your whole thing is built right from the beginning. That way you don't have to go, because you don't want to end up with like a 100-page document or 300-page document and then have to go later and like completely redo it. And these books don't have to be very long. Like I have my Pranic Lifestyle book, Living the Pranic Lifestyle, and it's going to be pretty thick. 300 pages maybe. And I was debating on whether to break it out into like 10 different books or like 3 or 4 different smaller books. One on meditation, one on aromatherapy, one on crystals, one on mantras, one on stress relief. Because, those are all the sections of the book that I already have. And, if I was to break it down, then I could go more niche. And, I use my branding, Pranic Lifestyle for meditation, Pranic Lifestyle for stress relief, Pranic Lifestyle for aromatherapy, Pranic Lifestyle for crystals. And then I would have a subject line to go with it. And see, now, then my book is more like, I've got more topics out there to bring more people to me. Because now my book contains all of that stuff, right? So like in the description and in the subtitle, like where am I going to put in my subtitle? It's like living the Pranic Lifestyle. And I'm even debating on whether to change that because it's not set in stone yet. I haven't published it, haven't copyrighted yet. It's still like in the formation. It's already written, but I'm just formulating the data, formulating the chapters, and so basically you just want to start out with your text document for the interior file and start writing your chapters. First you have an introduction, and if you can get like I don't know what's called a prologue or like whatever it is, in the beginning, where you can get somebody of authority to give a forward. I think that's what it's called. Like me, I have one person in mind that I'm going to ask for it's not a referral, it's more of like a, I don't know, like a recommendation. Where they would be like, yeah, Rocky Patel's been around, for 20 years, and he's written some books, and his oils are awesome, and I love his crystals, and or whatever. So it gives me credibility from other people in the beginning. So, you can ask somebody, like if they're like a doctor of this, or I just thought of somebody else I could ask for, to put like like a recommendation type thing in the beginning. So when somebody opens up your book, they'll be like, oh, we got this master healer here giving a recommendation, and then we have doctor of acupuncture giving a recommendation, and then a school teacher giving But those aren't necessary. You don't need those to start. You can get those as you go. Because you can just finish your book, and then you can let somebody read it, and then ask them for a foreword for it. So that's the first step. And then when you're coming up with your chapters, you just rough them in. Like, you just get a general idea of what you want to talk about, and then you expand on them. Like in the example of the eucalyptus book, it could be the chapter 1, the history of eucalyptus oil. And then you would go into how for 10,000 years the Aborigine medicine men of the outback of Australia have been using eucalyptus oil for this and that, and it's traditionally used for this, and how it grows like all over the world, and there's like up to 300 varieties of eucalyptus, and there's eucalyptus globulus, radiata, blue molly, and each one has a different chemical profile. And so then you'd be like chapter 2, using eucalyptus oil in your diffuser, and then chapter 3, using it in the bath. Chapter 4, using it while you're traveling. And so basically, you just come up with your chapters, and then you would go back and add content to those chapters, and then you would just keep like putting those ideas, and then going and doing research, going to Google, getting other books, reference books. When I was writing my aromatherapy books, I had stacks of scientific data that's already like done and written and studied that I would refer to. I mean, I didn't make up everything I talked about, but I was reading about what it does, and the different research studies that were done on it, and what it's effective for, and the different uses, and so I was studying all that, and then I would go into my chapters and I would write it out. So when it came time to where I needed more information on, say eucalyptus oil for the respiratory ailments, say if you want eucalyptus oil blends for the ailments, or for improved respiratory health, you would just go and research it, and then you could compile it into yours. And if you do use data from other places, be sure to use a proper annotation. Like Masachiko Sui was really big on properly annotating where you got your information from. You see, I see a ton of people in their online courses, in their books, they'll just go and jack some information from somewhere else, and they'll stick it in there like it's theirs. And, they don't even make it sound like them talking. They just jack it and just stick it in there. And it's it doesn't even sound like them talking. So, if you're going to do stuff like that, just at least, change it around, significantly, and reword it. Because you don't want to be, stealing. That's basically stealing, but intellectual property. It'll if somebody written an article and you take that and put in your thing, Google can see that you did that. They'll know and so you kind of lose credibility in your search engines. If you go and copy stuff from other people and you publish it in your blog or your Google knows that you copied that. Even if you change it a little bit, they have AI that knows that you basically jacked it from somewhere else, and so yeah, you have to completely change it and then add some new things and play with the if there's paragraphs, reword them, and then put your own personality on them. And as long as you're significantly changing what you're talking about, it's not like considered, like legally considered copyright infringement. Because I mean, you could basically take a book, and I think if you change 20% of it, that's legal. Legally, it's not legally. I mean, it's legal to do that. And you could take a book, switch around a little bit, change it about 20%, and then like rename it, and then copyright it, and then like that's legally fine, but morally, I don't know about that. But so anyways, if you're gonna like just copy straight up something, like if I'm gonna take if I'm writing about eucalyptus oil and it's talking about orange, eucalyptus oil has orange energy in it, and it has some blue in it actually sometimes. But say if I'm talking about orange prana and I go to Advanced Pranic Healing Book by Master Chokoku Sui, and I start writing about orange prana, and I take a paragraph from the book about how orange prana breaks up dirty energy, expels dirty energy, and blah blah blah. I would have to put I would put that paragraph or the whatever I took, I would put it in there, and then you have the little asterisk thing, and underneath at the bottom you would say this was extracted from Master Chokoku Sui's Advanced Pranic Healing edition, blah blah blah, page blah blah blah, and you give the exact page it came from and everything. And so every time you take something, you put an annotation. So later, if you make an online course from your book, those annotations should be in your course also. Like if you're talking about that one paragraph about the advanced, in page blah blah, you still have to have the annotation in the in your in the slides. If you're gonna directly take other people's stuff, and then you can just go and you can take stuff from all over the place and compile it. And as long as you're annotating, it's like free advertising. Like I don't mind if somebody annotates my stuff because it's like a free advertising. But a lot of people, they'll just jack your whole. They just copy the whole thing. I've had people knock off my book in India and in other places. Just completely just put their name on it basically and left everything else the same. But I guess as long as they leave my website and stuff in there, then okay, whatever. But, I can't stop them from doing that. And I don't even want to waste my energy, chasing after those people. It's just like, okay, whatever. It's like, there's no way I can really stop them. So anyways, going back to your book chapters, once you get them fleshed out, you just want to make them to where they're 3, 4, 5, 10 pages long on those chapters. So your end book will end up being, if you had like 20 chapters and they're 10 pages each, you got a 200-page book there, which is a nice size book. When it's a physical book, it'll be nice size, and the ebook, it's a good size book. And so once you have your content written out, you want to think about ways to monetize the content. So if you're talking about, say, eucalyptus oil, you're going to want to have somewhere for them to buy that. Like your own website or your Young Living Rep or doTERRA, whatever. You're going to have your link in the book. So you're talking about eucalyptus oil, blah, blah, blah. Here's see more here, and then you have the link, and you put the actual link there. So like even if they got the physical book, they can actually look at the link and type it in on their computer. And in the ebook, they would just click on it. And so basically, like in my books, as people are reading them, there's product placement all throughout the book. And like say if I'm talking about Every time I talk about eucalyptus oil in my book, there's going to be a hyperlink to eucalyptus oil, and then maybe to get some eucalyptus oil, go here, and they can go and they can click the link and go. If I'm talking about rings, there's going to be a link to the ring, and if it's like you can either put it to your website in general, but it's better to have it specifically go to where that product is. And once you create these links, don't change them. Don't change them. Don't use Bitly. Don't use these things that shorten it, because those things can get corrupted. And we've all probably had a link where you clicked on it and it doesn't work, right? You anytime you use any of these shorteners or anything like that, you're running the risk of there's something going wrong with it. So once you have your links, you leave them the same in your website. Like if it's like a blog post or whatever, you don't want to change it, because if you publish your book and then somebody goes later and that link's not good, it's like a waste. Like I have old URLs from old names like rockypatel.biz or rockypatel.co or different things, and they're in my videos and maybe even in my old books, and when people go there, there's nothing there. So you want to have some links, and you can buy links and have subdomains of those links, and you leave those the same, but you can always redirect where they go to. Like say if I have rockypatel.co, I think I'll let that name expire, but say if I bought it again, I can use that name all over the place, but I can redirect it to other places later. You just don't want to have a whole bunch of links that you change, or you change your domain name or whatever, because it's I have so many links from the past, I've got to have my assistant go back through years of videos and update the links. But it's just part of the process. But as your reader, is going through your book, they're bonding with you, and you want to put your story in there. It's not as all fact. You want to blend in your story. Like in my third book I'm working on now, I've got the content, all the content, and right now I'm just reformatting it all, organizing it to where it makes sense, structuring the chapters, and as you go through each chapter, you're bonding with me. In the beginning, I start out, I'm going to get more of a foreword in this book, but I tell my story. It's I was a young lad searching for searching for spirituality, spending hours at Barnes & Noble at the New Age section, reading book after book and about astral projection and dreams and love magic and blah, blah, blah. And, searching for truth. And then one day I stumbled onto Pranic healing, and I walked into class and I saw Master Stephen Cole doing healing on a blind kid. No, not a blind kid, a deaf kid, working on his ear. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then after that, I was hooked. So, I tell a little bit about my backstory, and then I go into the story. And in my current book I'm working on, I'm putting a lot of bonding, a lot of stories, a lot about my traveling, a lot about my early days, a lot about the struggle, a lot about, just so they can bond with me. And then I talk about meditation and like all kinds of different topics. And as they read through the books, they're being educated on oils and crystals and very expensive products. And I have my praniclifestyle.com website, which is my e-commerce website where they can buy my crystals, my oils, healing packages. And then I have like another domain, pranichealing.net, where I have a whole bunch of other what's called sales funnels, where I get their email, and then I have like a whole sequence. Last week we talked about this last week, but the whole sequences. So like right now I'm going to my book and I'm adding those links into my book, because when somebody from Amazon buys my book, they don't know me. Maybe the Pranic Killers do, or the Arhatic Yogis, but somebody new doesn't know me, and I might not have their information in my email database. They're not a lead yet. So throughout my book, I'm offering a free healing session, several other things like an ebook, a mini course, different things sprinkled throughout the thing to get them onto my email list. And so you want to think of your book. It's a sales tool. It's like like a magalog. Like, we've seen these, back in the day, it used to be like a catalog. Like you get the Sears catalog, and people would be sitting there in the bathroom reading the Sears catalog, and it would just have a description only, though, like just a technical and maybe a little bit of like description. But a magalog is where it's like it looks like a magazine, but it's actually a catalog. So it's a magalog. So it educates people, and they're reading stories about people, and there's pictures in there, and they're sprinkling in product placement. It's like, hey, Billy Bob, it was low on energy, so he started taking this energy, some MCT oil, and taking this keto shake, and blah, 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 and now he's running marathons, and yada, yada, yada. And then right next to it would be, you get this shake, and this is what the shake does, and blah, 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 blah. And so now you're reading it, you're being edutained. It's called edutainment. Because these days, you got to educate and entertain at the same time. That's why you see a lot of these people on YouTube kind of a little bit outrageous. It's because it's like, if they're just being boring, it's like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, nobody wants to be like bored. It's like they want to be entertained and maybe laugh a little bit and be like some spectacle. Like things that like, well, it's different, draws people in. So there's an element of edutainment, in your magalog. But the book is basically a sales tool to bond them with you and your products. So, like, say if you're teaching like Pranic baking, or your niche is like going after, you're trying to teach people how to, like Pranic baking. You're teaching people how to bless their food and bake with conscious energy and be able to put love into it. You would be teaching them and maybe giving them recipes and how to bless stuff, and then you would be like, hey, if you'd like some coaching, or if you want me to coach you, and then you put that link in there, or put a link to your Calendly funnel, your Calendly scheduler. There's the river there, guys. you put you put your link in there. Look, Sam, you would put your link in there, so as you're talking to them and bonding with them, somewhere towards the end, or you'd want them to like contact you and maybe get some coaching from you. And so that's the whole purpose of the book, is to bring them through the escalation and get them to buy stuff as you go. Because like my book would start with Pranic lifestyle, and I'm talking about rings and oils and meditating basically. And so like in the beginning, I'm also talking about essential oils, and then now I'm like, I've got all my links to the different oils. And so by the time they're done with chapter 1, or the oil chapter, hopefully they would have went and bought stuff. Because I would recommend, hey, on this journey, you're going to probably need to order some tea tree, some eucalyptus, or blah, blah, blah. Or maybe I'll have like a package. Like, hey, here's the Prime Killers package. You're going to get a tea tree, a lavender, a blah, blah, blah. And then the link. And then they go to chapter 2. Well, in chapter 2, I'm talking about crystals. And it's like, hey, here's a bunch of stuff about crystals, how to use them. Take the course, Pranic Crystal Healing, or Basic Pranic Healing. And of course I educate them on like the Pranic Healing, and give them the resources to go and take that class if they want to take it. If they want to get the Miracles Through Pranic Healing book, there'll be a link to that, and I get that for them. But anyways, going back to the crystals section, there's going to be links to like different crystals, and like, hey, I got this spray to clean the crystals with. Then we go to chapter 3, talking about rings. So it's like, oh, ring, you need an emerald ring. When you wear the ring, it does this, it does that, and it goes well with this, and you can wear it with that, and blah, 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 and here's the link. And then, then we talk about, I educate on all of Master Choco Koksui stuff. So I'm talking about advanced pranic healing and colors, and then a link to that. So, like by the time they get to the end of the book, they're ready for my high ticket coaching program. So, I want them to come in and maybe get, some sessions from me, my group coaching. So the book is bringing them in. I'm selling them a bunch of stuff, and then get into my group coaching, and then I have like my high ticket, like personal coaching, where it could be like a $3,000 package. So it goes from like, educating them, some oil, but the big idea is to get them into my high ticket coaching, where every month they're paying me to coach them, and whether they need like me helping them with their web presence, their social media, sales copy, helping them critique stuff, video marketing, being good on video, the scripting, book layout, whatever they need help with, I'll make sure that they can contact me or go ahead and book that time with me. And, you got to give yourself like 3 months to do this book, or a month, or whatever. Like, you have to set a goal. Okay, on my birthday, I'm going to publish this book, or whatever. Don't make it indefinite, and like, don't go for perfection. You just need to get it ready, because you can always like have a second edition, third edition, the next book. You just need to birth it. You just need to get it done, get it polished. Doesn't have to be perfect, because you get to work on it forever, and next thing you know, you got a freaking 6-inch book. You just need to get your first information out there, because it gives you credibility. You become the expert. Like when I published my first book, people looked at me like an expert, and the whole seminar business, and the seminar business is kind of like a little iffy now. It's all online. You should go focus more online. If the physical stuff opens up, then we do that. But like I used to travel for 6 weeks at a time, all across Europe, teaching aromatherapy with the PowerPoint for 2 days straight. I would just be sitting there flipping through the slides, teaching about aromatherapy, and I would get booked out for like 4 to 6 weeks at a time, and and I'd show up physically to do it, and it was all centered around my book, and a lot of times they would even translate my book, and typically I was teaching in Europe. So, with the recommendation, I was introduced to some organizers from, my mentor, my special teacher. She was like, hey, there's somebody in Ireland, you should contact them. There's somebody over here in Milan. There's somebody here in Budapest. There's somebody here in Prague. There's some people over there in India. There's some people in Brazil. There's somebody over there in Germany. Some people in Austria. Contact them and see if they want to organize a class for you. And you can even teach with me if you want. Like one of the part of the weekend, you can we can promote your stuff with us. So I would be like, okay, I'm gonna go to Europe for 6 weeks at a time, and then I would just find the first person to say, yeah, I'll take you in Vienna on November 1st or whatever, and they're like, okay, I put it on the schedule, November 1st, Vienna. Then I'm like, okay, I've got 5 other weeks open. Then okay, third week there's Milan, and then second week Budapest, and then the third week Prague, and then the last one Ireland. On one of the trips, I think I flew in to Vienna, and then I had to fly over to Ireland, to Limerick, for the weekend. Fly in, teach the class, sell stuff in the back of the room, have my book, and then fly out, hang out during the week, and then next week I'm in Italy, in Milan. And I'm teaching in Milan. There's a translator, and they translated my book into Italian. So now, they got my book in Italian in the back of the room, and I got all my products, and, I sell a bunch of stuff, and then fly back to Vienna, and then next weekend, take the train to Prague, the bus, take the bus to Prague, and these are nice buses. We got the TV and give me a hot chocolate and beer or whatever you like as you're driving, go and take a tour. They take me around the city, feed me, show me around, teach the class, and they translate my book into Czech, which is the language in Prague. Czechoslovakia. Actually, it's just called Czech though now. Slovakia is a separate country. And then I do that. Then the next weekend, go to Budapest. And teach again. Then there's a translator again, another language, translating there. And then the next week, I'd be in Vienna teaching, and then there's a translator translating into Deutsch, because they speak German in Austria. And then I think on that trip it would be, that's probably 4 to 6 weeks. So I would go for a long time, traveling, and then I was like, wow, I gotta travel everywhere and move all these products around and away from my children for all this time. It's I just want to do it online. And then so I developed the online course. Basically just took the PowerPoint which is made from the book. So I had my book. I just took the book and made PowerPoints out of it, and then recorded those PowerPoints, me reading those PowerPoints, and that became the online course. So all this content you produce for your book, you can make the course from it, your videos, and even audio book. So like on my next book, I'm gonna have it in ebook, physical book, probably video format, and then also audio only format, so it can be sold as an audio book. And towards the back of your book, you want to have like a good picture, a good little bio, like, hey, when I'm not teaching, I'm at home with my kids, going to the lazy river, blah blah blah, and then have an offer. Put an offer, whatever your biggest offer is, you put it in the very back of the book. And then that's basically it. And then, as you're writing your book, you want to use a software like Grammarly, like Grammar Check. But Grammarly is like a free Chrome extension where it'll spell check your stuff. And then if you use the more paid version, it'll do like structure and all this stuff. And then you can have it, if you wanted to, of course, have some of your friends look over it. But you can pay an editor to go through and professionally edit it if you want. But whatever you do, though, don't let the editor edit out your personality. Leave your personality in the book. Like, write like you talk. You're not in English class. It's not like English school. You write like you talk. I'm from the Midwest, like a hillbilly country boy. At least that's the way I come across. But so that's how I talk, right? And of course, like any grammar and stuff, that's gonna be corrected. You don't want to be like a really, use the spell checker and the grammar check. And then that's all you got to do. And then the last step, you go to it's the U.S. Patent Office, not patent, Copyright Office, and it's one of these .gov websites where you're gonna go and copyright your book. And it's only like $50, $60. It's really cheap to do. You take your book, you copyright it, and then you go and publish it on Amazon. And you don't even have to wait for them to give you back your saying, they mail you a letter. And maybe it's online now. It's been like 10 years since I did it. But you copyright your book, edition 1, the first edition, and then that's all you do. And yeah, I mean, even if you copyright it, though, people can still, jack your book or do whatever. But but it's better not to even worry about that stuff. So you copyright your book. That's it. And then you want to have a domain name to go with your book. Like before, I had like Golden Aromatherapy, so I had goldenaromatherapy.net. Now I have like Pranic Lifestyle, so it's praniclifestyle.com. And on my new book, I had it Living the Pranic Lifestyle. I don't know if I'm going to buy that domain or not. livingthepraniclifestyle.com. You can do that if you want. But then it gets kind of complicated having all these domains, and then when it comes time to pay for them, it's like, oh man, I need all these domains. And it gets kind of complicated. But if you just have like one domain, like I could have like praniclifestyle.com/book, and now they can go and get that book on that link. But you want to have a branded domain. And then the last thing you want to do, and you can do this before you publish it. You can do it at the same time you're publishing your book or launching your brand and your website. You're going to want to have like a LLC. So like, whatever, Golden Healer LLC. Nobody's necessarily going to see the LLC. They're not going to see it anywhere, so it doesn't have to be the same name as your company. And you might already even have one already, so that's fine. You can use an existing one. It doesn't matter. But to take online payments, to have like if you want to have an e-commerce website, you're gonna need an LLC to have a bank account and an EIN number. And so to get the EIN, you just have to have the LLC. And then I use a company called Rocket Lawyer, I think. Rocket Lawyer. It's like $100. I got everything: the LLC, I got the EIN, and then within 1 month they sent me all my stuff. So if you're gonna want to do like the LLC and all this stuff, you better do that now. Do that now in the beginning, so it's ready to go when you're ready to go. Like when you're ready to publish, or when, because you don't want to like do all this work and then then do all that, and then it's gonna like drag out your launch like even longer. Yeah. So, anyways, that's how to publish your book, establish yourself as an expert in your field, and make some money. See you guys later.